Today we're diving into a must-know for any Royal Enfield Super Meteor 650 owner, an oil and filter change. I'll walk you through exactly what oil you need, how to make your own drip tray, and even show you the secret of resetting that flashing service spanner. And stick around to the end for something extra special: Teacher T students performing a beautiful traditional Thai dance. It's time for an oil change, and oil is the lifeblood of your engine. Looking at the owner's manual for the Royal Enfield Super Meteor 650, it does state 3.9 litres of oil for a dry fill and 3.1 litres of oil for a routine oil change, which we're doing today at 10,000 kilometres, and the oil it states is actually ELF Moto 4 oil, grade 10W50. So it's time for Teacher T to change his oil at 10,000 kilometres on his Royal Enfield Super Meteor 650. The reason I'm choosing to do this myself today is because A, my Royal Enfield dealer has been underwater last week, so I don't really want to bother them, and secondly, it's good video content, right? I know I have viewers in Australia and Brazil and Colombia, places that are kind of remote that don't really have a Royal Enfield dealer local, so maybe this will be useful for doing all your oil changes. But I do recommend that you do the first one at your Royal Enfield dealer. Your 500 kilometre oil change, I do recommend you get them to do that if at all possible. But at 10,000 kilometres, I'm quite happy to do this myself. So here's my oil. It's ELF oil, but it has got Royal Enfield recommended on it, and I did buy it from the Royal Enfield dealer, so it looks like it's genuine oil. I couldn't get 10W50 anywhere, so this is another reason I ordered it online from the dealer in Bangkok, including my oil filter. It's very difficult to get an oil filter. It's very difficult to get an air filter for this bike. I don't know the reasons for it. Maybe because Royal Enfield is too busy making new bikes. They don't have time to make consumables for existing customers. I'm not really sure, but more than likely they're making so many bikes, they're not keeping up with demand and putting consumables in new bikes. We really can't change that oil filter until the bike's clean. You have a look. I don't put a sump guard on this bike. I choose not to, because at least I can get in and clean it. If I put a sump guard in, it's still going to go through, and how am I going to clean it? And also I think the oil filter is in airflow there, so that also keeps the bike cooler. If I put a sump guard on, I'm reducing the airflow. This has to have a decent clean. It's time for a decent clean before we change that oil filter. Let's have a look at my cleaning tools. The bike is on the center stand, ready to go. Everything's cleaned. We do need an old rag for cleaning up oil. We do need an air filter tool. There's various ones available. If you haven't got one, I'll show you an improvised way of doing it with a pair of ring spanners. We need some rubber gloves. Obviously we need our oil, we need our new washer, and we need an oil catch pan, which we're going to make our own right now. We just need a sharp blade cutter and cut the top half. There we go, that's enough to catch our oil, and then we can pour it out from here afterwards back into the original holders to recycle it. We're going to recycle our oil, we're not going to throw it away. We'll get it recycled responsibly. So here is our bolt draining, this one. We want to put the drip tray to the rear of that, because I know when we undo this one, the force of the oil will just push it forward. We want to catch it at the front. So as long as we're right at the back, it'll catch it, no problem. We're going to do this one first and then the oil filter. It's a 13mm socket. We're going to loosen the bolt. He says, oh my goodness, how did they do that up? Oh, we're going to loosen that off until I can undo it by hand. There we go, that's pretty much hand tight, hand loosening. So now I'm going to put my gloves on. So I've got an oil rag to the ready. I've got my gloves on, even though they're a bit tight because they're Thai size. We're drip tray in the right place. We're just going to loosen this off by hand and then as soon as I start seeing some oil coming out, I'll pull the plug out quickly, and hopefully the tray's in the right place. Some people say put cardboard underneath. If you're on a driveway, certainly. This is my purpose-built motorbike garage. I think a bit of oil on the floor is a bit of character, so I don't mind. But here we go. It's going to go. It's going to go. Are you ready? 3, 2, 1. Look at that. Now the sign of good oil is that it's black, and that's one of the reasons we're changing it, because it's black and not clear anymore. If that was creamy white, that is indication of water, coolant in the oil. So we definitely don't want to see that. That means your head gasket is gone, and luckily we don't have that colour today. So we'll just let that go at its own pace. It's going to take a while to drain. Now I can push the tray backwards now because the major flow has gone. We should get out 3.1 litres, hopefully. And that's quite interesting. Their oil plug is magnetic. I can try and do this on here. It's magnetic. Look at that. That's quite a good thing. And luckily there's no bits of metal in there, so that's a really good sign. A really, really good sign. Because I don't have a torque wrench that'll fit this oil filter housing, I'm just going to paint a line there. I'm going to use my adjustable tool that I bought purposely to change the oil filter on my Honda Steed, and see how many revolutions we take, or see how much turns we need before I can do that loop by hand, and that will indicate to me how much I'll need to tighten it up by when I put the new one on. It's good. Oh. How tight is that on there? Unbelievable. I think that's overly tight. And now I need to get the drip tray underneath, because it might drip from the filter as well now. My goodness, they put that one on tight. Obviously it's going to be easier with the correct tool. This is a universal tool. There, I think that's hand tight now. Nope. No, oh yes, I can. So, well, okay, so it wasn't as tight as I thought it was. What is that? That is, it was there, now it's here. So nearly 3/4 of a turn. I think we're going to do it 3/4 of a turn on the way up also. Yes. So I'll paint a line on the new one after it's hand tight, and we'll do that up 3/4 of a turn also. So here we go. A bit more oily mesh going to come out. That's full of oil. It's quite heavy. Hence the reason you need an oily rag to mop up any spills. There, that's pretty good. We'll just let that continue running, dripping for quite a while until it finally stops. So that is a 5-litre container in the bottom, and yeah, it's a little bit more than halfway full. So that should be our 3.1 litres coming out the bike. So there's our old filter. Here is our new filter. Please make sure that the rubber has come off with the old filter. If you put a rubber on top of a rubber, that's going to cause problems, so make sure that one has come off. Here is the part number if anybody's interested. Part number 575139/F. I think F stands for foreign, I'm not sure, maybe that's why I paid more money for it than normal. And on the bottom it has got C2F4. If anybody can tell me what the equivalent of that is for future, that would be very interesting. So we're going to crack open a new oil. There we go. So we're just going to put our finger in and just lubricate the new oil filter with some new oil. If this was a vertical oil filter, we could fill that with oil now also, but because it's a horizontal filter, we can't. So all we're going to do is lubricate the seal and screw it back on. I'm just going to screw it up by hand, making sure we don't cross thread it. There she goes. Put it up by hand there, that's hand. Now I'm going to paint my line on it again, just to know how much I have to tighten it up by, because I'm not too sure of the torque settings, and I'm not too sure. I will look it up. There we go, there's my line. I'm going to turn that 3/4 of a turn, and that should be the same as what it was. And of course this flat piece needs to go on the angles at the very end of the filter. That's how we're going to do it tight. So I can do most by hand. Can I? That's 1/4 of a turn. That seems too loose, so maybe I didn't do it up tight enough by hand. There, I'm happy with that. That's not coming off, and obviously we'll keep an eye on it. So now it's a case of putting the drain bolt back in after it's been cleaned. I'm so happy there's no metal fatigue on there. That's a really good sign. Our new washer, hopefully it's the same size as the old one. There it is. That is a little bit dirty. I'll be giving that a clean. That was all the clay soil from last weekend on the one ride. Ready to go back on the bike. Just give it a clean off. Again, we don't want to cross thread. We're going to undo it anti-clockwise until we hear it go in, and then we're going to turn it clockwise. Then we know it's not cross-threaded. We'll do it up by hand, as tight as we can. The worst thing that you can do is over tighten this. Please do not over tighten. It's a steel bolt in an aluminium housing. If you damage your aluminium housing, you will have to get a new sump plate. You don't want to be doing that. So we're going to do that up not overly tight. I will look up the torque settings. So I've just looked up the torque settings that I have been given. It says the torque for the oil filter is 20 Newton meters. That's difficult to do unless you've got the correct adapter to do it with. And for the drain plug, it says 35 Newton meters. I'm going to do this one up by hand because I kind of know what kind of feeling it should be just from experience with motorbikes, and then I'm going to torque it just to see if I've kind of got it right. It doesn't want to be over tight at all. There, that's plenty. That is plenty. I don't know if I trust this so much. No, it just feels too much. It does feel too much. It does feel too much. I'm not going to use my torque settings on that. It's not clicking out at 35, and I just feel that that is enough. So if anybody has any torque settings, if there's any Royal Enfield engineers out there that can divulge the torque setting for that drain plug, please let us know in the comments. And now the most important thing of all is putting in the new oil. Don't go riding your bike with no oil in it at all, please. So we undo the oil cover, make sure the funnel is clean. Last thing we want is an unclean funnel going in there. Oh, I can't fit my funnel in. This piece is in the way. So we're going to take this cover off. It's just the throttle body cover. 3 hex bolts. There we go. Well, it's still a bit of an angle, but it does hold itself there better than before. We're definitely going to put 3 full bottles in. We're going to check the glass at the same time, right? We are going to check. Oh, look at that lovely clear golden oil. Beautiful. Lovely clear golden oil. I have noticed my bike getting warm lately. Definitely an indication of oil change required. Hopefully this will improve fuel economy also. It should do. Better lubrication, better fuel economy. So I'm 2.5 bottles in. I know I'm a half bottle in because it's got a gauge down the side. I'm halfway down. Now the window's completely full. I've still not put that 3rd bottle in fully yet. With the side stand down as well as the center stand, I'm just going to turn the bike over until that oil level drops. The side stand down will stop the bike from actually starting fully. This will circulate the oil enough for us to add the rest. So this is the 4th bottle going in now. Just this level only. Lovely golden. That's it. 3.1 litres of oil added. And now it's just time to run the bike again to get that circulating through. I've made a video about oil levels before on this bike, right, and it should be to the maximum level. That's what they recommend. You can see how quickly that sucks down, which is why they recommend the high level. Now we'll just switch it off and see. They recommend 5 minutes, I think, to check it again, and it should be on these very top lines. But I'm really shocked how black that's gone already. That was lovely clear golden brown oil, genuine Royal Enfield. But I'm hoping my bike will run much cooler now, and better fuel efficiency. I will definitely let you know that in future updates. Now I can measure the oil in the tray back in the old bottles, right, and see if we got 3.1 litres coming back out, because we will put it back in the original bottles and take it to a recycle centre, get that oil recycled, save the planet. That's what I teach my kids all the time at school: reduce, reuse, recycle. So I've painted good on this one because that's my good oil, only 0.1 litre used. I've painted old on these, and I'm going to try and top them up with this oil without making a mess. Let's fill it up to 1 litre. Yeah, that's exactly 1 litre. Let's put the stopper back in. 1 litre. Let's repeat that. That's a little bit more than 3. And I've got 0.1 in the bottom. And to be honest, I'm seeing some metal filings in the bottom. Can you see some metal filings in there? Can you see them? Just like here, and here, and here, there are some metal filings. But I think you're going to expect something for sure. I'm going to put the magnet on them just to see if they are metal filings or not. There, I've got an old magnet tool. Let's just run it through the base here and see if any of these particles are metal or just sealer. But I suppose if they're aluminium, they're not going to stick to the magnet anyway. Definitely not steel, which is good, so it's not my rings. Yes, just a tiny little bit. Just a tiny little bit. But that's expected on a new bike. 100% expected. That's what the oil filter is for, to stop that going recirculating through the machine. So all is good. I'm hoping for a cooler engine. I'm hoping for better fuel economy. I did the oil change yesterday, Sunday. Today is Monday, yellow shirt day for teachers to wear a yellow shirt at school. After I did the oil change, the engine management light came on. I'm going to make a separate video on how to reset that. And also, even if you don't, I think it will reset itself in time. After a day or maybe a day and a half, it will reset itself. So it's annoying, but at the same time, it's reassuring that the sensors are working, telling you that there is a problem with the engine. Obviously there wasn't. It just, that split second of no oil as it re-lubricates itself, set the sensors off. So it's okay, it's all okay. The only thing I need to do now is reset my flashing spanner. There we go, I've got my flashing service indicator spanner. If I put the bike in neutral and start the bike, the engine management light does go off. The ABS will go off once the bike moves. Anyway, how do we get rid of this flashing spanner? So we're going to turn the bike on. We're going to press the information button until we see trip B. Once we see trip B, then we're going to hold the button in for 10 seconds. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. We're going to switch off the ignition, but still keep the information button held in. 30 seconds. 3, 4, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30. Turn on the ignition, still holding in the information button, 10 seconds. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. It's gone out. It's gone. The spanner's gone. I don't need to take my bike to a Royal Enfield Centre to get the spanner removed. So we're tickety-boo. Everything is working. So there we have it. One happy Meteor. It's got an oil change. We're going to ride to town now, me and Mrs. T. My 11-year-old students are performing at the local shopping mall. They're doing Thai dancing in a competition. So we're going to watch that. If you want to watch, you can watch next also. Upcoming videos is going to be me removing the tank, which I've already done a video about, but I'm going to take off the cylinder head cover and check my valve clearances. That's an upcoming video, as well as removing the front wheel and lubricating my front axle. I think at 10,000 kilometers I should do that also in preparation for our trip down to the south of Thailand. So I'm going to be doing lots of maintenance on this bike in the next few weeks and filming it. So if you want to see that, please like, please subscribe. 80% of my viewers are not subscribed, which is very naughty of you actually. So it doesn't cost you anything. Just subscribe to the channel and then you will get alerts when these videos come up. Also, I'm going to be doing the front brake pads. I did the rear ones already. I've done a video about that, but the front brake pads now at 10,000 kilometers, they need changing also. So please like, please subscribe, and Teacher T will see you on a video soon. Until then, ride safe. Hello girls, how are you? Are you going to be dancing?
Yes, sir.
Yes.